Hey guys, I just want to preface this video saying if you want to see the SEMA section of this video, skip to about 6 minutes. The beginning is talking about 74 weld portals and road tripping a new Tacoma on 74 welds portals on a brand new truck. It's really cool, but I threw B-roll of 74 welds facility and also wheeling in the San Juans. Tomorrow we have a video dropping, that's Friday the 15th of November, about our trip to the San Juans with 25 trucks, and that video is done by a professional videographer here, Leo, so make sure you stick around, watch that one. It's going to be well worth it. Use the chapters below, jump around. If you have any questions about the builds, because we didn't do a deep dive on anything, just mention them down in the comments and I'll be happy to answer, and thanks for tuning in. We are on the way to SEMA 2024. I'm excited. Toyota has some heaters at the show. I hope it's exciting as last year the FJ45 FJ Bruiser that Marty Schroeder did last year was really crazy. We are driving the 74 weld 2024 Tacoma all the way out to Vegas from Colorado. It's an 11-hour drive through the Rocky Mountains, and it did snow last night. And I'm going to take you through the show. I'm going to talk about doing a road trip on a truck that has 74 weld portals. It's a common question. Can you take a road trip? Can you daily drive on portals? And we're also going to go from Vegas to Southern California to visit 74 Welds facility. So this is going to be straight up vlog style. I don't really have a format. I'm just going to take you with me along the way, talk about this truck, talk about what we see Toyota related at the show, and it should be a good time. It always is at SEMA in Vegas. Let's go. I don't want to bore you too much about the details on portals. It's a gear reduction at the hubs. You get a ton of ground clearance. Yes, they're expensive. They're not for everybody. But one of the big things is, can you daily drive on these? Not only can you daily drive on these guys, but you can road trip in these just fine. There's very, very little added noise. The sound of 37-inch tires is louder than the sound of these gearboxes on the hubs. You cannot really hear them whatsoever. Is there a sound to them? Slightly. I can't hear it even right now. Sometimes when you turn at high speeds, you might hear a little bit of gear noise. It's nothing. It's literally next to silent. I like to tell people that if I put you in a blindfold in the passenger seat and took you on the road, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between this truck on portals and a stock 2024 Tacoma. It drives virtually the same. Some of the things you're going to need for portals for sure are highly positive offset wheels so that they cover the portal box and you don't have unnecessary leverage on your steering. Method's starting to make a lot more positive 35, positive 45 wheels, so that's fantastic. You're going to need a fender trim for sure. We like to make it as close to OEM style as possible. Kyler did the rears on these. The 37s were hitting the front side of the rear fenders, and Kyler did such a good job making these look OEM. Kept little tabs so that there's still a brace, so that fender's not flapping around and it just looks clean. And then you're also going to need cam tab gussets. If you're using your truck, the cam tabs are going to flatten. If you're out wheeling and you have portals, which if you're not out wheeling and you got portals, come on, I got questions for you. But you're definitely going to need cam tab gussets. This is a brand new truck, and the cam tabs on the passenger side on this are already totally flat. So every time you wheel, you need an alignment. No thanks, let's just get cam tab gussets in there. And then you're going to need bigger tires. This thing's on stock suspension. Feels awesome. You're going to want to replace that though, because if you're off-roading, you want more wheel travel. So the cool thing is you don't have to max out your preload on your coilovers. You don't have to have big stiff springs in the back to get lift height. The lift height comes from the portal boxes themselves. So you're going to have a nice plush ride with all of that beautiful wheel travel, particularly your down travel, which is going to help you with traction off-road a lot and help your on-road driving experience as well. And then you're probably going to want to do some armor just to protect everything. I will say though, the amount of ground clearance on this is crazy. Going over boulders and stuff, it's insane. When you look at an obstacle and you think, number one, it looks impossible to get over, and you walk right up it. Number two, if you see something you just know you're going to scrape, you're going to hit your sliders, you're going to hit your skids, and then you don't even touch it at all, something special about running portals. It's a lot of fun. But you should still have rock sliders and skids, high clearance bumpers. We have kind of banged this truck up a little bit. The bumpers got banged up. The front, the back, there's a little bit of body damage. Sorry, Quinn, I tried not to, but the footage was worth it. And you're gonna want high clearance stuff if you're using it too. So I like to tell people, if you're gonna run portals on a 3rd gen Tacoma, you're spending $36,000. That's probably about the same if you're realistically gonna do this. You don't really need steering. The steering rack feels really good in these new gen Toyotas, but the old ones, steering racks are a big problem. I would upgrade tie rods at least to start. And then I'd say if you're really gonna do a full build with portals, a good budget, 50 to 60,000 is gonna get you an incredible build with portals on a new gen Toyota. Sounds like a ton. Yeah, it's the cost of another vehicle, but it's a daily driver that you can wheel like a solid axle vehicle. The first thing I saw when I walked into the show worth sharing with everybody was the new Kuat rack. It is a cab rack and it looks really solid. What I like about it is that it's very unique, but they didn't miss the mark as far as the styling goes. It actually looks appropriate on there. Some roof racks, they don't fit the lines, they don't fit the style of Toyotas, and they just look like it's a total afterthought. This was clearly designed with intention to fit with Toyotas, and I really like that Diode Dynamics lights fit right in. It's like seamlessly right in. It's gonna pair up nicely with the Kuat Ibex bed racks as well, and they did a knockout job. I like that they partnered up with Diode Dynamics, and this rack looks fantastic. Speaking of racks, the other rack that I liked a lot was actually on top of a tonneau cover, and this is from DeeZee. Honestly, I'm not familiar with DeeZee much at all. We haven't had any experience with them, but I thought this was super cool. It's a tonneau cover that kind of looks like a Diamondback tonneau cover, which is like really hard diamond plate steel that's extremely strong. What's cool about this DeeZee is that it has a pivot system, so whether or not you have stuff on top is irrelevant. You can carry a full load on top of this tonneau cover, and it kind of has this like pivot slider on it. Let's get into this Toyota booth and knock everything out one by one. The first thing that I saw when I entered the booth was this robo-formed hood with topo in it. It's basically just a cool way to customize your hood, I guess, showcasing some of the metal work that they can do internally. Kind of neat. And this was right next to a vehicle. I'm sure if you're on Instagram and follow Toyota stuff, you've already seen this thing. It's the Surf. This is the Land Cruiser 250 build that Marty Schwarter led. He is the builder internally there at Toyota. And they did a removable top, kind of like the first gen 4Runners. Everybody's been clamoring for one of these. A 2-door with a removable top on a 4Runner would be, this has long travel suspension on it. I'm personally not a big fan of the style. What I like about it is like, it's very California, it's very surf centric. It's getting back to the roots of the first gen early Toyota off-road stuff. I'm gonna cruise through a few of these too. We have a Throwback new Land Cruiser here as well. Beautiful. This thing just looks like it got into a time machine and had a makeover. And I love the styling on this. The retro stuff is killer. I'd love to do a build just like this. And we also have a drift truck. This is a 94 pickup that they made into a pink drift truck. And this thing was really rad. There were a lot of cool like drift cars and lowriders at the show this year, which I enjoyed a lot more than the Brodozer builds for sure. We also have a RAVx. This thing was by far the coolest RAV4 that I've ever seen. We don't do a ton of RAV4s, but if you wanted to make a complete off-road beast of a RAV4, I would use this as the template. This thing looked killer in person. I'm sure it's very functional as well. And now guys, my least favorite thing that Toyota's put in their booth in years. This is the Land Cruiser 250 Modellista. I think I'm saying that right. These guys do body kits, and this thing was atrocious. I understand that it's a concept. They're trying to be loud. They're trying to do something like, I don't know, Tron. Everybody uses Tron as like a benchmark for comparing things like this. I think it's nasty. None of it's functional. It's just a bunch of plastic put onto the body. I don't think there's anything about this that is functional whatsoever, with the exception of maybe the rear window panels. This thing deserves to be in a sci-fi movie and nowhere else. After that Modellista, I need a palate cleanser, and the perfect way to do that is with my favorite Land Cruiser that's at the show this year. This is the Baja Cruiser in the Toyota booth from Westcott Designs. Jeff Westcott and his team led this build and knocked it out of the park completely. There's only one thing. Jeff mentioned to me that he needed to change something, and I found out what it is because Ben Calhoun from Dissent Off-Road also took a photo and said, do you notice anything weird about this? If you notice it, put it in the comments. Jeff's aware of it. He's a professional. He was on limited time to get this build done. If you see it, post a comment. But this was meticulously done. There are an insane amount of details in this, countless labor hours. I'm going to tell you, this build, a lot of people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe something like that's so expensive. If this thing went to the market, its retail value is easily $400,000 plus. They did everything from full custom bumpers, front and rear. They put trailing arms on this where they mounted the front links like 28 inches further up on the frame. It's a plus 3-inch long travel kit in the front. Every single detail is wild. The interior has one seat in the rear because these 16-inch double stack coilover shocks on the trailing arms come up through the body, but it's all sealed. So you're not gonna get dirt and stuff kicked up through. You have a spare tire holder in the back. Everything's just so thought out. Quick fill gas tank. They put a 25-gallon fuel cell underneath this rear bumper. The rear bumper just looks incredible. I think that if Batman had a Land Cruiser, it would look something like this. All the lighting's fantastic, everything works. And one detail that you may or may not notice is that this is a wide body kit on here, but it's done out of metal and it's done in-house. It looks factory. This is just phenomenal. If the Westcott sell this, yes, it's going to take a very specific high-end buyer, but somebody's out there. I told Jeff I think this should sell for north of $400,000, and I think that's gonna happen if they don't choose to go rip this thing and either sell it at like Mecum Auto Auction or something like that. Man, what a spectacular build. This is in my top 3 of favorite builds overall. I'm gonna show you 2 more that are deserving of that title, but this thing was really phenomenal. I think he completely outdid every other build that's in the Toyota booth. And there was definitely some drama at SEMA in the Toyota booth because Toyota's legal team came down and pulled some vehicles out of their booth. One of them did not deserve it because it's also in my top 3 favorite builds. Let's go check out that thing after one more Land Cruiser build. This one is the Land Cruiser 250 ROX. So it's gimmicky, really. There's some weird things about the Surf, like the bull bar in the front, completely non-functional. We like to call things like that damage enhancers. There's no purpose that it serves whatsoever. I don't think that it's a thing that you should just stamp onto a truck because you can. It doesn't look good. It looks out of place. It affects the overall styling of the vehicle. I don't like that whatsoever. And I feel the same way about this. Whatever this bumper thing is that they put on over the top, it's stupid. The doors being cut out of the bottom, I personally don't get it. Maybe if you're in the right climate, you could do that, but you better have some full doors you can put on. It's totally a Jeep thing. I don't understand. Let's get out to the Toyo booth. I'm gonna show you one of my other 3 favorite builds. This is the Taco Tuesday build from Proffitt in Delta, Colorado. They didn't just do a full frame off resto mod on this FJ45. They rebuilt this frame and they literally put the entire interior of a 3rd gen Tacoma in this FJ45 truck, as well as the entire drivetrain, well, at least the motor. Look at this engine bay. You could dump a 5-gallon bucket of water on top of this motor and maybe collect a gallon out of the bottom. It is watertight. And they actually took the axles off of an FJ60 Land Cruiser. It is solid axle swapped. and everything is pure Toyota. So the knuckles, everything on here is actually Toyota specific. It's all from the factory. It's all OEM Toyota. And I want you to understand that this thing is fully functional. The electronics, the amount of engineering and countless labor hours that go into just making the electronics work in another vehicle that it's not supposed to be inside of is outrageous. The adaptive cruise control and all of the sensors work on this. This is an FJ45 Land Cruiser with all modern technology. It's really hard for me to rank my top 3 favorite vehicles, but I lean towards this. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I think this is my favorite vehicle at the show. Proffitt, you guys are legends. We're gonna head over to the Baja Designs booth now. If you're not familiar with Clarke, you need to go follow him on Instagram. He is like God mode fabricator. It's incredible to see his work in person. The TIG welding that he did on the build inside of the Baja Designs booth is phenomenal. This is one of the very few things I'm going to show that's not Toyota because we just have to show it. This is a Range Rover that's Lamborghini swapped and turned into a sand car. This is just so next level. Morgan is building this with his team for a customer. This is not their vehicle. He's been at it for a while. He shows pretty much every single thing about this vehicle on his Instagram page. His YouTube is phenomenal as well. And he's just a really nice dude. He stood there talking to absolutely everybody, taking pictures with people. Lamborghini motor in a Range Rover. I can't even begin to go over every single thing about this. By the way, Bill from Baja Designs, dude, look at your calves, man. You are a freak. What's cooler, guys? Let us know. Bill's calves or the Range Rover Lambo swap from Clarke? Baja Designs, made in America, lifetime warranty, great light output, just high quality products. We rarely have had any sort of issues with Baja Design stuff, and they're simply the best. Like I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of lowriders here this year that actually caught my eye. And this isn't what we do, but man, I can appreciate a good build for sure. And this thing is insane. This is a Toyota pickup, and they swapped the front end with a 3rd gen 4Runner. So you definitely do a double take. This is from Hoppos Garage. This guy, Jamie Silva, just crushed it. I can't even tell you what's going on with a bunch of this stuff because I don't know what I'm looking at, honestly, with some of the rear suspension. But you can just slam this thing on the ground when you park it. He actually drove it here from California too. Knocked it totally out of the park, dude. This thing is so wicked. I love it. Let's quickly talk about a couple of products that I liked at the show. AlphaRex has new taillights that have topo patterns put into the taillights. And then they're also doing really cool stuff with headlights. I will let Bryce go into that here in just a moment, but I want to show you the third brake light options that they're starting to get as well. And then they do have this double tap feature for your fog lights now. This is on the market. You can actually hit your fogs, turn them off, turn them back on again, and you can switch between amber and clear fogs. I like that a lot. Super innovative. And they also have chase lights now. So you don't have to break the bank and go with the top end chase lights if you don't want to. If it's something you don't use a lot and you're going all AlphaRex on your car, this is really cool. And right now I'm gonna let Bryce take it away and show you what's new with their headlights.
What's up, guys? Bryce with AlphaRex. Got something really cool to show you. We are launching a new app in 2025. You'll be able to fully control your AlphaRex headlights through your phone. Super easy. You just connect to your light. You'll be able to switch your daytime running light between white and amber just at a click of a button. You'll also be able to switch between either blink or sequential turn signals. We know some people don't like sequential, so that's super easy to be able to swap that there. And then you'll also be able to change between multiple activation features. So a lot of cool features there. This will be on any of our new headlights. You'll be able to add that on, but we're also working on it to where you can add it to your old headlights as well. That's coming in just a few months, so stay tuned.
All right, 2 more products to get through really quickly. Seibon carbon fiber hoods. This thing looks so aggressive. I definitely am gonna get one of these on my 24 Tacoma. I got the TRD off-road, so mine didn't come with a hood scoop, but even if it did, it's not a functional hood scoop, it just looks good. Seibon has functional hood scoops on these carbon fiber hoods. All right, this is my favorite product at the show. It's not a top 3, this is my favorite by far. Dissent Off-Road is taking bumpers to the next level. These guys are legit. They're actually innovating fabrication in the bumper space for Toyotas. The dual swing outs on this Land Cruiser 250 that they brought to the show, they are the slickest swing outs I've ever seen. I really do stray away from doing swing outs because of the nuances that come with them and potential points of failure. You could easily mount a 40-inch tire on this and it's not gonna budge. They're so easy to open and close. They don't have a traditional like pin style latch system. You just push it in a little bit and pull the inside of it and it just comes right out. It's on a gas strut. To put the swing out back, all you do is push it back. It clicks in on its own. And they have so many different accessories. They're super modular. They work with all of your sensors, including your blind spot monitors. And in my opinion, they just look incredible too. Dissent currently has my favorite Land Cruiser 250 that's built right now. This thing's nuts. They did the Rubicon in it. It's on 74 weld portals. And that's one of my favorite Toyota builds in recent history. I absolutely love this thing. I'm a huge Land Cruiser 250 fan. And now I am a massive fan of Dissent off-road. So that brings us to my other build that's in the top 3. I'm sure you guys have seen this one too. It is the Helltaco from Miso Customs. Miso does a lot of really cool accessories, and Stellar built in Northern California put together an incredible build in collaboration with Miso. They did a Hellcat swapped Tacoma, and they also swapped the Tundra front end and rear end on this. This is a full build. I mean, every single thing has been done. And I really hope Miso takes this thing out and just rips the living heck out of it because it deserves to be driven and abused. This is a beautiful build. Every single thing on it. It is a pre-runner race truck with a solid front axle. So much custom work went into this. So much time went into this. And you guys, Stellar built, holy smokes. My hat's off to you. Miso, wow, you guys really put together something incredible. This looks like it's straight out of a comic book. I love pretty much every single thing about this build, and I want to drive it so badly. The only thing I would change is I would have kept it true to Toyota's DNA, but I've never seen a Hellcat swap done, so I understand you wanted full originality on this, and it just sounds like a demon when it starts. The thing is bananas. Super next level. Congratulations on this amazing build. It deserves to be front and center at this show. I hope every single person that came to SEMA got to see this truck and bring some attention to two great companies. What do you think? Would you drive this thing? Would you daily the Helltaco? I would love to daily the Helltaco. That thing is completely bonkers. Just leaving Vegas, guys. That was an incredible SEMA show. The turnout was huge. It is the year of the Land Cruiser from my lens. There were so many Land Cruisers built out. It reminded me of when the Bronco first launched. You saw a ton of them at SEMA. Land Cruisers are dominating. They are very well supported in the aftermarket community with parts and different upgrades you can make for off-roading. SEMA show's a little weird. You know, you see lowriders, you see brodozers, you see hot rods, you see all sorts of different types of vehicles. And what we do is really underwhelming as far as a specific show goes. It's nothing like King of the Hammers, obviously, Overland Expo. The overlanding section at SEMA is like a total afterthought. So I wish there was more stuff for off-road and aftermarket as it relates to the outdoor specifically, but you're not gonna believe this. AlphaRex is pulling up on me right now. Hopefully it's Bryce. Let's see if it's Bryce. Here he comes. There it is. What up, dude? So it looks like we might also have to go visit AlphaRex while we're in California. Bryce is such a great guy. As you might imagine, we get asked a lot about portals. We've been pushing portal content so much. You might anticipate that one of the most frequently asked questions is highway drivability. Check this out. You know, I've been cruising anywhere from 70 to 80 pretty much on this whole trip on the highway. Steering wheel is dead center, no wobble whatsoever, no kind of solid axle swap type of activities going on with steering. It's quiet. the wind noise from like a roof rack that's a really high quality roof rack is actually louder than the tires or the portals. So there's no change other than just better torque and ground clearance. That noise there, I don't know if it's even coming through on the camera, is the roof rack. The wind fairing is making a little bit of noise. So something to show you. Also RPMs, like RPMs on the highway, you cruise around about 2,000 RPMs at highway speeds. It is negligible, the difference in RPMs at highway speeds. Gas mileage. Anytime you're gonna run tires this big, no matter what, your gas mileage is gonna be atrocious. So this is the non-hybrid Tacoma. I'm getting 12 miles per gallon. And that'd be worse on 37s without portals because you don't have that gear reduction. But yeah, get a Prius if you care about gas mileage, that's fine. Not good. I will say the gas mileage is gonna be a lot better in the hybrids. I've driven one hybrid from our customer Jacoby so far. That thing absolutely rips. The difference in power on the hybrid versus the non-hybrid turbo 4-cylinder, huge. All right, I am back at the shop. If you have made it this far, thank you. I know this video is like super disorganized and kind of all over the place. I wanted to just document taking a road trip with the 24 Tacoma from 74 Weld and give you an inside peek at SEMA if you're unable to make it. It's crazy there. There's so many vehicles and I clearly didn't have an outline on doing anything. I didn't get technical on anything either because I wanted to show as much as I could without making this video an hour and a half long. If you want technical details on anything, they're out there. You could hit us up. You could comment below. I know everything about all of those builds pretty much, other than calling a 6th Gen 4Runner a Land Cruiser, which is the Surf is definitely a new 4Runner and not a Land Cruiser, but it's all good. So thanks for sticking with us and enjoying the channel. Peace.